Hey, how's it going? I'm Launders. Some of you may know me from my B-hop tutorial, my pretty outdated B-hop tutorial, or just some of my other KZ tutorials, or maybe you have seen some of my just gameplay videos. But after this recent scandal, I guess you could call it, with Frankie on PC in 1080 being accused of B-hop scripting, I got a lot of messages in regards to it. So originally I didn't really want to talk about it because, you know, what's another scripter in Counter-Strike. But after having a little conversation with someone on Twitter, you know, he was saying, this was Cookmeister, saying that I've been watching Frankie for since 2013. People used to tell me he cheated on Arma 2, and now he cheats in CS, and I want the truth. And I don't know much about his history, him in DayZ or Battlefield or whatever it was. I don't really watch him at all. But I guess, you know, to shed some light on the situation, I thought I would make the video. If I could say with certainty whether or not he was scripting, and I'll say this right off the bat, I probably would have made the video right away or just posted a statement or something like that. I mean, it's become a joke between most people who just assume that he is scripting. And I'm going to talk about why it's kind of a point of contention, whether or not it's fair to simply accuse someone of scripting. But we can also just look at the video that he made and see if we can figure anything out, give us some clues and some insight into whether or not, you know, this is suspicious kind of b-hopping.
Beast PC, but I actually don't. I've got a pretty old one, and I learned how to bunny hop. Have you seen this? Amazing. I'm not entirely sure I put this clip in. I was going to put it in later, but yeah. So I learned how to do this.
All right. So I think the first time across he does about 6 hops, and then the second time back he does 7. And I think the first thing to point out is his ability or inability to strafe, because I think that's the most important thing that should be looked at, I think, in this video, because
But I actually don't.
hitting the actual timings for the hops, like, he could get lucky doing that. Okay, you know, it looks like a script because he's hitting up to 14 hops essentially in a row, which is very difficult to do. You know, for some might take a long time to actually reach that milestone. It takes a lot of practice, but you could also just get lucky and hit that many hops in a row. The fact that he does it kind of effortlessly while he's strafing this badly is a little suspicious. But what stands out most to me is how he strafes. So if we go in game, I could show you what, like, someone who's new to strafing or new to b-hopping would strafe like, and what someone who's got a little bit more experience would do when trying to strafe in game. So Frankie's strafes were kind of like this. So he would run. By the way, he hit every single hop both ways, and hit like 6 or 7 both ways. But Frankie strafes is like this. So he's running forward, right? He is switching to strafe key, so he does understand that you need to let go of W, I suppose, unless it's some sort of multi-hack. And then he strafes back to the left as soon as he needs to touch the ground. So the thing about b-hopping, right, is that the fastest way to get between 2 points is a straight line, right? And with b-hopping, you can only gain speed by moving or by cutting the air left and right. So by doing that, you know, you're fighting against the time that you're wasting by gaining speed. And so when you're trying to b-hop, you're also trying to make sure that you're not wasting too much time strafing right or left. And the way that Frankie's strafing, he's strafing out like this and then strafing in like this, to the point that he's only strafing back as soon as he's about to hit the ground. If you've got a little bit more experience, you're gonna cut your strafe off halfway before the point where you hit the ground, right? You're gonna do, you're gonna strafe out and then you're gonna strafe in, right? You're gonna strafe out, you're gonna strafe in. With Frankie, he's strafing out, and then he's strafing in at the very last moment. This makes for very ineffective strafes, and even though he's hitting his B hops, the only reason that he's able to go so fast is because he's hitting every single one. And what he would be doing if he was a little bit better at strafing is strafing out and then in a little bit earlier. Just in general, that's like the first thing I noticed with his strafes, is that he's just not very good at it. He also doesn't have much smoothness. On 10 air accelerate or 12 air accelerate, your crosshair smoothness is very important. If you move too quickly, you'll lose speed. He's not really jerking his crosshair around, but if you also want to make sure that you're moving on a kind of consistent plane, and constantly using the same timings and crosshair movements every time that you're gonna strafe. This is how people who are somewhat good get kind of like get it into kind of a clockwork-like movement where they can help themselves time their hops and be more consistent. Frankie doesn't have any sign of this. He just kind of jumps and then strafes, and his crosshair just goes wherever it goes, and he's not putting any effort into anything but timing, is what it looks like. So he does let go of W, yes. He does hit his B hops, yes. But his air strafes are just it's just rudimentary. What he's doing it's very basic, and he's clearly learning how to B hop. So from that perspective, he's learning how to B hop, which is fine. But he's also hitting these one frame timings, which are very difficult to do if you're new to B hopping, and that's kind of suspicious. So in my opinion, that's one mark against him. Can we say immediately that it's because he's scripting? No. I mean, this is recorded offline, so it is likely he could have done it 1,000 times and hit that one string of 6 and then one string of 7 after 1,000 tries. Do I think that he did that? No, I don't really think that he did that. I think it's still very unlikely that he wasn't scripting, but it's just too hard to say that it's not you can't say that he was or wasn't, because the only thing that was sketchy was that he was hitting his timings, but that doesn't necessarily mean that he was using a script. In my opinion, he was, but I'm just putting that out there in the universe. So I guess that's all that's really important to look at. Strafes are bad. He hit 6 to 7 hops in a row 2 ways without missing a single one. And was he for sure scripting? No. Was he probably scripting? Yes, he was probably scripting. And that's about as clear of an answer as I can give, without pretty much slandering someone's name, because ultimately anyone's entitled to hit a B-hop timing by accident, and hitting 6 or 7 in a row is technically possible. But for my personal opinion, I'd say he was scripting. So that's going to be about it. There isn't really much else that I can say, but I hope that shed some light on Frankie to some people who might be new to Counter-Strike, or some people who have been longtime fans of him. And yeah, I hope it's helpful. So take care.